And welcome back to another episode of
And on that note,
that was fun.
Today, guys, I wanted to ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
So, if you recall, or you may have seen on the social media, on the interwebs, that our old favourite, Kanye, yes, we brought him back again, P2, he asked Kim, he basically said to Kim that the way she dresses is a bit too sexy and it makes him feel some type of way.
Okay.
Did you guys see it?
Yes, I saw it.
Mhm.
I saw a meme of it.
With
I
Kim
saw a meme.
Kardashian.
Say that again?
She's been dressing sexy.
Well, this is it.
That's it.
So he said that to her. And then I think her response was something along the lines of,
Do you think this is appropriate to tell me
Yeah,
now
'cause it was,
that
I
I'm
think,
about to
apparently-
go to the MET Gala? Like,
and you know, did you guys
Is
see
that
what
what
she
she
wore to
said?
the Met Gala?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
raindrop.
proper cool sexy
lace
thing.
she
thing.
called
It
it,
was
I'm
sick.
dripping wet.
Ew.
I get
That's
it
what she
though,
called it.
because I called it the raindrop dress.
That's what she
So I
called
get,
it. She's just
the
like,
dripping
I'm
wet.
literally dripping wet.
Because her hair was all wet.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
but
is that
it's
what
sick,
then?
yeah.
I
That
get
was
it
the
now.
look.
It makes sense.
I didn't like it. Anyway,
It was good
it's
for
the Met
her.
Gala show.
So she was just like, oh, and then she said something along, if you're changing as a person and if you are
Just
going
because
through
you're
something.
transitioning.
Just when you say transitioning, it makes it sound like something.
But that's what she said. And she said, just because you are going through a transition,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Why
mean
does she have
that
to do the
everybody
Kim?
is in the same position as you or in the same space as you. And he was
Yeah.
like, okay. Do you see how
Yeah.
fast he walked off?
Yeah, he walked off
Did
like,
walk off?
he walked a bit weird though.
He walked mad.
Was he like, right, I'm outdoors?
No. He walked like...
Was it
You-
smoking?
He looked like,
No.
It
You
was
needed
a bit
to see
soaking,
it.
but it was
Like
just,
moping.
It was
I don't want to
a
use this word, but it seemed a bit like, are you all right?
That's exactly what I thought. I literally looked at him and me and Wayne were like, hold on a minute, why is he walking so fast out the door? It was kind of like, if I don't walk out, I'll blow your head off. Every one of you.
You like
every one of
issues.
you.
Anyway, the reason I bring it up, because I wanted to ask you guys, like, do you think like there's a too sexy or too revealing ever? And as it pertains to a relationship, do you feel like you could ever dress too sexy?
Yeah. I'm
Yes and no.
I'm in 2 minds about
Tough.
this.
Yeah,
I
me
feel
too.
like yes and no, because it depends. If I was with Guy, then I'm with him, so I can wear whatever
Yeah.
I feel like wearing. He's going to appreciate it.
Mhm.
However, if I was to go out with maybe you guys wearing something that was quite revealing, he'd probably look at me sideways and be like, where are you going in that?
Interesting.
But he would never actually say to me, can you go back and change? He'll probably make it known that I'm not comfortable with you leaving like this, but do you? But obviously, once he lets me know that he's not comfortable, I'm going to change anyways.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think a bit of both.
Okay.
You can be. But why not?
Why not what?
Be sexy if I want to be sexy.
But then why would you go and change if he says he doesn't feel comfortable?
Because I
if you're
know
going
he's
out with
not
your friends.
comfortable with it.
Okay, fine.
If he hadn't said
Interesting
anything
point.
to me, like if I had the thought in my head thinking, this might be pushing it a little bit,
Mhm.
but he hasn't said anything to me, I'm going. Because
Mm.
you didn't make it clear to me
Oh.
in some sort of way that you were not comfortable with it.
Mhm.
But once he lets me know, then of course I have to like take that on board that, okay, he's not comfortable with this. There's a reason why he's not comfortable with this. I want no one checking out his girl once I leave the house. So then I'll change.
Interesting.
Okay,
Wow.
interesting.
And it's
Well,
sexy every day, bruv.
Oh,
and it's bros be doing fully.
Yes, I'm a hot pocket. Yes. No, seriously though, I don't think there's too much. I think you're either naked or you're like sexy. And I don't think necessarily
Oh, so
being
you think there's a
naked
line
is being
between-
sexy. Yeah.
When you say naked, do you mean literally naked?
Literally, like
But
I'll go to a bar and I'll see certain
Yeah.
girls in like
Buddy riders.
the tiniest dress. There's not even a limit. Like there's boobs out, there's legs out, there's literally
But
bottom
if
of
they're
bum
single,
cheeks
so
out.
what? Like if they haven't. So the point is here is what Kanye's comment said. If you're in a relationship, is there a way to be too sexy?
I don't know.
So think from
When-
your.
I'll give you guys like a recent
know.
example. You know,
I
we
don't
just
know
came back
because
from
I'm
holiday.
always
Yeah.
like that.
I had on a thong bikini. I told you guys I'm going to be wearing my thong bikinis. And I even thought, what would he say? Like when I leave, once he sees me out on the beach, everyone's looking at me. But he didn't say anything because obviously we're
He's
together.
there, yeah.
Yeah. So, but before he even thought anything, I was already like in two minds. Should I? Shouldn't I? So
But that
I
was,
think
is
being
that
in
for
a
yourself?
relationship-
Or is that
no,
based
that's
on
being in the
Oh,
relationship.
okay,
Yeah, because if
interesting.
I was single, I would throw on my thong bikinis and feel no way
yeah.
about it. But
But
yeah,
if I was
definitely
by
had to think-
myself with you guys on a beach, like with my girls, I would wear a thong bikini.
All right.
I don't think my husband would have a problem with it like that because
Interesting.
it's me. It's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to wear.
Yeah.
And he knows that when I feel confident and I'm sexy in myself, that's me being my best self.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think as a person, you just have to have your own boundaries in it.
Yeah. I mean,
whether you're in a relationship or not.
I think from my point of view, just going back to Kanye and Kim, so her whole point was that, you know, you're transitioning. Actually, what he did say. Actually, no. What Kanye said is that there was a time. So this is just to kind of put the whole conversation in context. So she's obviously trying on this dress where she's got like all these people around her who are obviously like, you know, doing the most around her. She's got this corset dress on and she's dripping, as she calls it, wet. He walks in and he was just like, okay, is that what you're wearing? She was like, yeah. He then says to her, you know, when I was before, I used to want to have my girl to be very sexy. I thought I wanted my girl to be that model kind of thing. I thought I wanted her to be like, you know, dressed to the nines all the time. That was basically what the conversation was. And it was like, but now that I'm a husband and now that I'm about to be a father of 4, my perspective has changed. And I don't want everyone looking at my wife that way. I don't want everyone to kind of see her body and kind of like adore her body because that's mine. So that was his whole point. I felt like, yeah. I felt like, you know, I get what he's saying. What did you say?
That was his.
I can say it. You guys are bullies. Thought this was Black History Month, guys.
We always do this.
His. So, I can't help it. I've been liberated. Anywho, back to the matter. Anyway,
funny.
But as I was saying before I was really interrupted.
Sorry.
I think that with Kanye and in this situation, I felt like with Kim, he always said that, you know, Kim was his fantasy. And you know, and he the same way how everybody else adores her body, that's what attracted them together. He adored her. Do you understand? He literally made her, I don't know, she became like his muse almost. Like he dressed her. He wanted her to look a certain way. And when she met him, he was at the top of his game in terms of how he looked as well. So they both looked good together. And it was similarly like when he was with Amber Rose. Amber Rose was this woman who never spoke. She was mysterious. Like she literally was always wearing shades. She had blonde hair. She had red lips.
Bodysuits.
She was bodysuits, like banging body. She literally never ever spoke. I never heard a word. Not even hello. It was kind of like, ooh, who's this inconspicuous woman? Like it's all mysterious. But Kanye was very vocal. But she was just like a trophy piece. And that's what he married. He married Kim. And Kim is a trophy wife. Do you understand? And I'm not, please don't get me wrong. I'm not like insulting their marriage or anything. But he married his fantasy, basically.
So
and now you made your fantasy your wife. And then now, you know, time has moved on and you're looking back and you're thinking, hold on a minute. Actually, this is not necessarily the image that I want. And at the end of the day, people change.
Yeah.
So yes, as she said, he's transitioning, which he is transitioning, obviously. If you haven't listened, listen to our Sunday service episode. Plug. But he's obviously transitioning. So they're obviously at different points of their life. However, not dwelling too much about Kanye, I think personally it's an individual thing. So not even just dwelling too much about them. I think at the end of the day, like, I think there could also be an element of control. And I feel like personally in my marriage, my husband would never be like, or ever say to me like, oh, don't feel comfortable with what you're wearing. My husband will be like, do you know what? I like you looking sexy because at the end of the day, I want you to be you. I never want to change who you are. Like, this is what I saw. This is what I was attracted to. This is what I'm always going to be attracted to in you. Do you understand? So when you now try to change me, the same thing that you found attractive in me, and then when I go out, because I'm not with you, then you're feeling sideways about it, then I think maybe that's an insecurity down to yourself. Do you understand? And I feel like the only reason why you would think like that, personally, from my opinion, is because when you go out and you see other girls, again, that's the same thing that will tantalize your own eyes as well.
Tantalizing.
Yeah, because I feel like if you know me, like it's not even about even doing anything. It's the natural respect. And at the end of the day, I know the things that I would and would not wear. So there's some things that even I will put it on. I say, nah, do you know, I'm going back to change. And
Exactly.
my husband will be like, no, what do you mean? It looks nice. I'm like, it's not appropriate. Like it's just not appropriate, or my body's not made for that.
Even with us as well, not even just with him in the house.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So
sometimes
I'll
you're
do
guys,
that.
it's
I'll
not
be like,
appropriate for the
nah.
situation.
And I feel it within myself. It's my own conviction. It's not about what he says.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like, it's not, I value his opinion, but in terms of to run what my image is, that's me. That's my own. I'm my own person.
Yeah.
So that's why two whole people need to come together. And you don't need to find that. Again, I always say this word validity. You can't even find validity in your spouse.
You
Like,
cannot.
You need to be
100%.
whole within yourself as an individual.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it came from, that conversation where Kanye obviously flipped out in that situation where he sexified her. And as her word said,
Sexified?
he did.
That's
He
a legit
sexified her.
word.
No, it's just
He did.
I'm on a funny mood.
No, obviously. Because
She's got the giggles.
She's got the giggle.
yeah. But anyway, I'm talking too much, so please.
Daphne, what about you? What do you think about the matter?
I think I would probably jump on Georgina's bandwagon in the sense that, like, because this is the same way I think about Kanye and Kim. I'm just like, well, you met me a certain way, and fundamentally at her core, that's who she is. So I don't even think like the dressing sexy is an add-on per se.
Because that's what
I
we
feel
know
like
her
that
for
is
being. Like,
that
yeah,
is
she's
her,
just-
and so I would just expect my partner to be appreciative of who I am at my core. And if that means I like to dress a certain way, whether it's sexy or otherwise, there's a respect for that. Because I think it goes the other way. Because not in this particular case, but I know relationships where people don't dress, very as revealing or in tight clothes, and their partners are like, no, wear something tighter or wear something that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it goes both ways. And I think there has to be that mutual respect that this is me, this is how I'm comfortable. And ultimately, like, if you met me this way, it's not fair to kind of necessarily ask me to come out of my comfort zone. However, I was going to ask you guys, like, is there ever a situation where it's justified to basically, ask your partner to consider to change how they dress?
So what I was
Yeah,
going to say,
so know
like,
about that.
which might kind of answer that, is how like Kanye's transitioning now? Like you just mentioned respect.
Are we going to get in trouble
Do
for
you
this?
not think Kim should have
We're
also
using the words that his
respected-
wife said.
Oh, that's true.
Kim should have
It's
also
'cause what it
respected
means
his
to me is not
transition.
that. Say that
Sorry,
again.
I'm so sorry,
sorry.
Do
Daniel.
you not think Kim should have respected the fact that he's transitioning too? Like,
I think she
So,
did,
like,
what
with
she
that
did.
outfit?
No, not necessarily with the outfit.
in
In her
general.
words, she kind of did say, look, I understand you're going through what you're going, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be going through the same thing at the same time.
she
And she said
justified.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's almost like she acknowledged,
She's
I
acknowledged
may
it.
go through that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I've not,
Give
it's
me
not,
time
it's
to
not
get
the
there.
time.
Get there.
Give me
Yeah.
time to get
Yeah.
there.
Okay, we haven't
And
quite
I
got it
think that
together.
happens often, where I always say, I feel like people change like there's no scientific, this
seasons
is not
change, so
scientifically
we change,
proven,
we evolve,
but I
we
honestly
grow.
believe people change every 10 years, every decade. I think people just go through quite a massive change in their lives. So the way how I was in my 20s, I'm completely different person in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I think so on that will change as well, maybe when I get to 40 and whatnot, who knows. And I feel like, again, they're at different stages of their life. They're at completely different stages of their life. Bearing in mind, this whole Met Gala thing, before Kim ever got with Kanye, she was never invited to the Met Gala.
never.
So,
Yeah. None
of the
so
Kardashians.
he
Really?
no,
Yeah,
she was
none of
never
them were.
invited. She was never ever invited.
Maybe Kendall was like maybe the first because she's a model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
The rest of
Kim
the
was
family.
never ever invited. Whilst being with Kanye, she's been invited to the Met Gala. Whilst being with Kanye, she's been on the cover of Vogue. Anna Wintour always wanted to disassociate herself with the Kardashians because she just kind of found them almost as like celebrity groupies almost. That's how she almost looked
Culture
at them.
vultures.
Like she didn't look at them as anything. She just thought, oh well, you're just a reality star.
Yeah.
And Kanye was always advised not to go with Kim because she would potentially ruin his career because she was a reality star. So that was the whole point of like their relationship. But in terms of, I went out with this guy like ages ago before I got married. And he was that kind of guy. And I don't even want to say he was transitioning. Don't get me wrong. I don't even want to say that he was in any kind of transition. This was like a month. And he just began to show me his true colors. And I couldn't,
You saw the red flags early.
yeah, I saw the red flags early, but then I just compared that to control. So there was a point, when it was on my what was it? Like my BlackBerry Messenger, like
Your display
DP,
picture.
my display picture, exactly. And I had like this backless dress on, and I was turning like, and I took the picture of the back of my dress, and my hair was like nice and curly and whatnot. So I thought, oh, this is a nice picture. And then he just messaged me, literally. So bearing in mind, I'd had this picture way before I'd even started talking to him. He messaged me and he was just like, oh, I just want to say, beloved.
I was going to say,
Can you please? Right, there's only one. He was like, I just want to say, beloved, can you please remove that picture? I was like, what picture? Because I was so confused. I was so confused. So I was just like, what picture? And he was like, the picture on your DP. And I was just like, why? And he was just like, oh, because I don't want other men looking at your back.
Your back, you know.
Do people get a boner from looking at somebody's back? Because I was so confused.
Some people have
Do you know what?
fetishes.
Some people have fetishes.
Yeah.
Remember when I was pregnant, I told you that guy tried to move to me in Stratford.
Yeah.
But a
in
lot of men
Westfield.
try to move to like pregnant women. That's a fetish.
I swear you said that happened to you as well, Georgina.
Oh yeah, I told you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you start running?
I was just like, I just picked my belly up and I was like,
Literally. I freaked out. I was like, oh, you're nasty,
yeah.
man.
He was
No,
like,
but a
Alicia
lot of men love
Fertile.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
That's
what
it.
they love. Fertile. Yeah, that's it.
Disgusting.
So you guys didn't answer my question. Is it ever
Oh, sorry.
justified?
Oh yeah. That was the question.
To ask your partner to change.
Yeah.
I think to some
change their
degree
outfit.
it can be.
It
In
depends
what
on the
circumstance?
situation.
Yeah.
Depends on the situation.
Like, give me
I think
examples.
if it's like, maybe if it's like a formal event, like a wedding or a funeral or something like that, and you might think, honey, maybe we can tone it down a little bit or whatever.
Or not even,
Maybe.
again, not even tone it down. So I would never even consider it as tone it down. I would always just say, I feel
wear
like
a
there's an
coat.
environment for
I don't know.
everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just feel like there's some things that are just appropriate in certain settings. So if Kim's going to a funeral,
She would
best believe she'll probably wear a bodycon black dress. You know,
Yeah.
she'll probably go dressed to the nines. I remember when one celebrity died and literally I thought, oh, they're all going to come toned down. They all look sexified still, but just wearing black.
Yeah.
Like everybody looked glam to the nine. But I feel like you can still be, you can
Yourself.
still be sexy. You can still look sexy because I think she's naturally like just a sexy person. She's attractive.
She's a sexy
Yeah.
You know,
now.
she, yeah.
So-
she-
I'm
she's
talking
a-
about Kim again.
No,
I'm just
okay.
saying, in
In any
general,
time.
In general.
is it
It's
ever
appropriate.
justified
I don't think
to
so.
ask your partner, either way,
To turn it down.
to change what they're wearing or to consider dressing alternatively? Is there ever a
Yeah,
situation?
I think so. Yeah, if you're going to a wedding, for example, I wouldn't expect.
So is
you
it
to
based
dress-
on the
I think it
destination
depends on
or the event?
Yeah, I think it
Occasion,
depends on the event.
I think
Yeah,
it can
yeah.
depend on the.
It's true.
Yeah.
So let me throw in some hypotheticals, and I'm going to stress hypotheticals because I don't want you guys to go, my partner would no. Let's just talk hypotheticals. So if your partner were to now say to you, okay, let's just talk the same scenario. You're going out, obviously not to the MET Gala, unless obviously any of you got it like that. Can I have a ticket? Yeah, they just said to you, oh, you're going out, and they say to you, I don't like this outfit. I think it's too sexy. I would like you to change. What would your response be?
What's sexy about it? What don't you like about it?
My response would be no. Straight. No.
I don't think it would be a straight off no. I need to know like why don't you like it? And then I'd be like, no, it is nice because of this and that, and I'm gonna wear it.
Would you ever change?
I don't have to justify
Probably
myself.
not.
If you think it's too sexy, that's your problem. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm wearing it and I don't, and I think it's appropriate, and I trust my judgment, and I've been dressing myself for probably, how old am I now? 31. Like so many years. Why can't I wear my clothes? I'm not going to change.
I think
like, bye.
I would think about it because I've already said that my partner is not like that. So I
Yeah.
feel like if my
For him to
partner
say
was to ever
something.
say something like that, because he's never ever said anything like that with me in all the years we've been together, I would definitely take it into consideration, and I would probably check myself because that's respect. I wouldn't automatically just be like, no, because X, Y, and Z. No, because if you're telling me, I feel like you're telling me for a reason, and there's obviously something that I can't see that maybe you can see, and I probably would go back and reevaluate myself as to what I look like, and see where he's coming from. One thing, he would never just say anything dead. He doesn't give me dead end advice.
Yeah.
What he would tell me, he would give me a reason
Yeah.
why. So he would
Yeah.
always justify it.
But that's what-
Therefore I would respect maybe what he's saying. And depending on what the situation is, in that instance, I probably will go and change. Because again, like I said, it's not something that's in his character to say something like that to me
I hear
ever.
what you're saying, but Daphne said hypothetically, if he just said that, what would you say? And
Yeah.
I said no.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
he just said
I
that
can't
to
just
me,
say no.
I would say
I
no.
w-
But if he said to me, okay, this, and this, and this, then I'd be like, all right, fine.
But then why
Because
does
I'm
he?
doing
But why
it for
does he
him,
need to
but
do?
I'll
Why does he
literally
need to?
be doing it for him?
Yeah, exactly. But then why would he need to give an explanation? Because if you've already said that he's not like that, then if somebody's telling you that for the
There
first
must be a
time,
reason.
hypothetically, I would actually automatically think, rather than come back like combatively, I'll be like, oh, hold on, let me take this into consideration. Because likewise, if I'm saying something to him like, babe, what are you doing with that on? And I've never let's say said that to him before. I think he'll probably be like, oh, like what? Like, because usually we're complimenting each other left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're this and you're that. You look sexy. You look buff. You're this. Oh, turn me on. Blah,
Yeah.
blah. You know, all these words.
That's how we are. It's
Like literally.
You turn me on.
Yeah. So we say all these kind of things to each other. So if you then say something that is out of what we would usually say to each other, I think both of us would be taken aback by it.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely so. Because it's not something that we would ever say to each other.
I hear what you're saying 100%. And that would be another scenario. But if he just said that to you, I would literally just say no. And then I'd say, why? That would be my answer. I'd literally say no.
But then
why?
if you're saying no, but then why? If you're
yeah,
saying
there
no,
shouldn't be a
why is there a why then?
What was the
Because
question?
you said no.
Say the question how you said it again.
I was saying, in hypothetically, if Kanye said what
Is it
he
Kanye?
said-
She said your partner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your partner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
partner
If he
said
said-
what what Kanye said to you. That's what I said.
So if my partner came in and said, are you wearing that? And
But
you're
that's not what
wearing
Kanye
that.
said.
See, that's not how he said it. That's not even how he said it. He gave her an explanation as to what, his reasonings behind it.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that. Let's go back. Let's backtrack.
That's what I meant. I don't know if I said it. We have to play the tape.
No, but I felt what you just said is if you were going out hypothetically and your partner just said,
What you're
I don't
wearing
like
is
what
too
you're
sexy.
wearing. I don't feel comfortable with what you're wearing. What would your response be? That's all you said,
Yeah.
right?
I think so.
No, because my reply was no.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
so
fine.
that's
someone
exactly what
if
she
someone
said.
was to say, it doesn't make sense. If someone was to
No,
say
but it
to
does
you,
make sense.
it's
Because you
not-
said
no,
hypothetically.
listen, if someone was to say to you, I don't feel comfortable with what you're wearing, and your reply is no, that doesn't make sense.
But that's not
That's
what
not what
Daphne
she
said.
said.
She
It's
said
okay,
what
it's okay,
Daphne-
it's okay,
what
it's
Daphne-
okay, it's
Daphne
okay.
asked you. Daphne asked us hypothetically if
If
you
you
were
thought-
going out to an event and your partner said to you, "I don't like what you're wearing. Can you go and change?" You just said my answer would be no. Well,
If he
Daphne
didn't
said,
like
what would
it,
you say?
then I would say.
So
okay,
basically, what
why?
you're saying, Annette, is
But
if
he said
he
it's
didn't
too
give you any
sexy,
reason,
yeah.
okay, then you'd just be like, no. If it was a flat out, just go and change without any
Yeah.
kind of real
Like,
context or justification.
Why? He
you'd
didn't
just be like,
justify
no.
himself. He just said that. There was no.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what she
Why?
said, and then you were just like, no.
Yeah,
But
I was
then
like,
you-
no. Why?
But then you said why. So
Yeah.
it's almost like I think what everyone is saying is why doesn't the why come first?
Oh no, it doesn't come first
Why?
because my feelings are hurt.
Okay, so
Straight.
you'll react out of anger.
Yeah.
Or
But
felt
why
of
would your
feelings.
feelings be hurt if he
Because-
says he's not comfortable with what you're
because
wearing?
why-
He's not saying you don't look nice. He's saying he's not comfortable
because
with it.
why are you not comfortable? At the end of the day, I know I look good. Damn.
Yeah,
I
but
know
he's
I
not
look
taking
good.
that away from you.
No, but I know. But I'm saying, what? Don't you want me to be my? Don't you want me to look my best? Don't you want me to be my best? Don't you want me to feel my best? Like, what's the problem now? What's going on here? Yeah, I'd be like, must be a really big problem then. It's true what you're saying because if he's never said that to me, I'd be like, what? I'd be
It'd raise alarm
completely
bells.
flawed and blindsided because that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Do you think it would raise alarm bells? I wouldn't think it would raise
would
alarm
raise
bells.
alarm
like,
bells
oh my God. But just
for
like,
me.
oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You said it's not a norm. So yeah, I think, oh, okay, let me actually take this into consideration and look at my outfit again and try and see if I can see where he's coming from.
Hmm.
And then we
I'm not
move.
even feeling all that. I'm not even lying. It's so long.
So it's a straight
Because
no.
it probably would have taken me like half an hour to find what I needed to wear anyway. Then go and iron something, and then all the other clothes don't fit. So what the hell am I going to do? Like, it's a real disaster. It's a disaster. I'll be like, all right, fine, I'm not going.
We're not going anywhere then.
We're not going
Everyone's
anywhere.
staying at home.
Something I
Everyone's
might
staying
do.
home. Netflix.
So I feel like I know Annette's answer to this question. I was going to say, do you guys feel like you've changed based on your relationship status in terms of like how you dress?
I would say yes, but not like, okay, so I would say yes because
I was going to say no for you because you just said you'd be like, nah. So
No,
that's
I
why.
actually haven't
the reason
changed.
why I would say yes to a certain extent, before I was in a relationship, biggest tomboy, I still think I'm a tomboy. In fact, I'm still a tomboy. But now I try to implement more of a, maybe a girly girl. Like he's always like, oh, just throw some heels on. And you guys know I'm trainers every day. So yes, more heels because of him, more dresses because of him, and whatever else. I just feel like I'm more girly because I'm in a relationship. Not because he wants me to be like that or anything, but because why not? Like,
just-
but I also feel like I've changed in a way because I'm a mum as well. So I'm just my wardrobe's growing as I enter new chapters. I think, if that makes sense. So yeah, not because of him exactly, but yeah, just because I want to live in my identity now.
I feel like my dress sense has only changed because I'm not as slim as I once was. So, them backless dresses, boy. Them rolls, I looking a bit pink in the back. So, I've recently joined the gym, so I've been going to classes 3 days a week, working out.
Stay tuned for the glow up.
But but I think that's my only reasoning, to be honest. I don't feel like I don't relate it anything to do with my husband or anything like that. My one is personal. It's whatever I feel comfortable in. I look at myself and I feel, do I feel comfortable in this? And then I go. And I don't think about being a mother and whatnot. I was never like dressed overly provocatively anyway.
That's why I say mine is different.
Yeah.
Because before it was everyday tracksuits, like just whatever I'm comfortable in.
I go through phases.
Yeah, so now I'll still throw on a tracksuit and not feel any way about it.
100%.
But then like when I'm taking Keeks to like the nursery centre or whatever, I'm just like, can you just rock up like you're somebody's mum? Like it's not every day.
I say that to myself
NY
all the
hat,
time.
tracksuit bottoms and a big old jumper, like look like someone's mum. So yeah, that is nothing to do with them.
It's
just like,
so funny.
please.
It's just, I think it's for yourself.
Yeah.
More than anyone
100%
else.
is for yourself. I literally have to be like, you're somebody's whole wife.
Yeah, you need to
somebody's
just remind
whole
yourself.
mother. Like, can you get a grip? The only place I have definitely changed is after the hours of 10 o'clock. I have changed. Okay.
What do you mean?
So at
sexy
night times,
pajamas.
in the bed times, in the evening times, I don't just walk around with a raggedy old t-shirt anymore. All them t-shirts long gone.
Yeah, using them to clean the floors.
Yes, because it's a hype. I remember when I first got married, I used to be like, I started going through all my clothes, throwing out all the old stuff, and I'd like put some things on. I'd be like, I'm not wearing this anymore. It has to go because it's not me. So I literally just forced myself to change my whole bedtime wardrobe.
It's so interesting you say that because it sounds like, from what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like, well, as it pertains to Annette, like you said, she's sexy all the time.
Thanks.
But it sounds like it's especially important though to be sexy for your man, like intentionally.
Oh, you've got to be
Yeah, I agree with that.
100%.
You do. I don't think it's easy. But I think, and what I mean, it's not easy because I think you have to consciously think about, okay, I can't let myself go kind of thing. And vice versa. They should be thinking the same thing. Don't let yourself go for me, Don't come with no fatness and all this stuff. I'm not
Guys
interested.
actually
Sorry.
thinks he's saying I'm making him fat. So like now, because of the wedding, he's cycling to work every
Is
day.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Goes to the park, does his runs and everything. So
Yeah.
it's like if you're keeping yourself intact and I'm putting on a bit of weight here and there, he's losing a bit of weight too.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a give and take thing. I think as much as I could be making an effort, and sometimes I'm not always making an effort, vice versa, I expect my husband to be doing the same thing. So if I'm going to the gym, my motivations for going to the gym, my husband's I don't even need to do it with you. The thing,
not, I think but let's
do something together. Exactly. But to be fair, I wasn't doing anything together because my husband had always worked out. Always. In all the years that I've been with him, he'd always worked out. I wasn't motivated to do anything. I think I became fully motivated only after when this year, actually, let me not be lying. So it was literally this year I thought I need to do something about, how I feel. Because again, it's a turn off for me to be like, oh, I'm not happy with this. Oh, babe, my arms are, oh, my belly's this. Oh, I can't wear this dress. Oh, my bum's not high enough. Or
So it's
like,
like, what are you doing about it?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, do something about it and stop moaning.
Yeah.
Like, that's my responsibility, nobody else's. But I feel like as much as I'm making an effort for you and doing myself up and whatnot, and we know what each other likes, likewise, you should do the same for me as well. Let me still find you attractive as well.
Yeah,
which
definitely.
I do, caramel.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. That is funny.
I don't have anything to ask again.
What about you?
About me?
Yeah, exactly. Because the way how you've been asking us questions, what is this? An interrogation.
No, no.
Daphne
Taking notes?
Addy, Daphne's room.
Taking
Lord.
notes.
Plug.
While she
The
curls
thing
her hair.
is, obviously, I'm the single gal of the group, What's that? Oh, the thing. Jesus. Yes, Lord. I just feel like you've got to be sexy for yourself. Like, because I feel like from what everyone is saying to me, ultimately it comes from your confidence, because I think your confidence is ultimately what makes you sexy. Like, you know, clothes aside. So the moment that is gone, like I feel like it's unattractive anyway, regardless if you're wearing a sexy dress or not. So even if I'm dressed up to the nines, boobs here, bum here, but if I'm complaining, oh, I want this, it's not nice. Nobody wants to be with that at the end of the day. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't feel the need to be overtly revealing, but I feel like I look bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you've dressed yourself and you're like, nah.
Do you know what I
look nice. What?
Paris.
Darren's brother's birthday.
Yeah.
The dress he wore, I said,
whoa.
She was hot.
Tamale.
Hot tamale.
But the thing
You guys didn't send any pictures of that night, by the way.
We didn't really take any.
There was no pictures taken.
We really didn't take any.
There's no pictures taken.
We were just running around the club.
Yeah, we were trying to be baby girls. Like,
We were
we were the young ones.
And the 18s.
Listen.
We were just there like, do you think they know? Do you think they know?
Yeah. We were like, do we fit in?
My knees.
Do you know,
Oh, your knees hurting?
strong knee gang. Trying to get it in.
Meg the Stallion.
Yeah, so that's how I take it. I just feel like as long as I feel good in myself, and I've got that feedback before, do you know what I mean? Like, you carry yourself a certain way, it's nice. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, like, I can do, you know, sexy, whatever that means, but I just feel like as long as, the thing is, if I dress with the jazz all out and whatever, and I don't feel comfortable, it's just going to show anyway.
Yeah.
100%. That's the thing. It will definitely show.
It's true.
I just think, you got to think of what makes you sexy from the inside out. Sorry to be all philosophical.
No, but that's where
But
it
that's what it comes down
honest.
to. Like, you need to feel sexy. Even if you're
Inside
dressed
out.
like from here to here, there's something in your head that's just like,
I'm lit.
I'm
Yeah,
looking spicy.
you can still
Innit?
do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then I've had situations where I know people where they've gone the complete opposite. So I'd known them to be a certain way all along, and then they got with a partner, like they got married and whatnot, and they completely changed. Like, and I know they completely changed to what their partner considered to be the perfect spouse in terms of image. And not necessarily in terms of substance or anything else, just in terms of the image. And you need to fit this certain image. And so I remember, like, he kind of like went through her wardrobe and he threw out her clothes. Not she.
What?
He threw out her clothes.
So
and said
he did
that,
a Kanye?
You can't wear this.
Did she? Yeah, because that's
But
what
I
Kanye
don't,
did in the
I don't even
beginning.
necessarily think he
beginning.
done I don't even think he done a Kanye, because I don't think Kanye went that bad.
No.
I think the only reason
I think to just rebrand her wardrobe.
Yeah.
Or to anything.
and
about
I
her.
think Kanye done it. Only reason why I think Kanye done it wrong, because he done it in front of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only. I think that's what I
That's
found
a very
very,
good point.
very,
Yeah.
very wrong about it, is that I felt like she could have been humiliated, and it was embarrassing. You know, at the end of the day, because it kind of gave you another angle of their relationship.
Yeah.
But parking that aside, back to what I was saying. I had a friend, and her partner did throw out her clothes. He threw out her shoes, the kind of heels that she wore prior to getting
wild.
married, saying,
Yeah. He was definitely
don't
insecure.
don't like that kind of image.
Were they married
don't-
when he was doing this? Or
No,
just
before
wow.
they got married. So
They got
engaged.
married?
Yeah.
So engaged, yeah. So during engaged period, and I use friend loosely. So he threw out her clothes. He threw out her shoes and whatnot. And then when I have seen her, she now dresses a different type of way, and it's
Did he change his wardrobe? Or
No,
anything?
funny enough, he didn't change. And he remained the same way.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like he's quite flashy. Do you understand?
wow.
He's quite flashy, whereas he almost, I think he took the idea of a submissive wife to the extreme, and it's almost like he has a subordinate wife, not a submissive. Like it's not nice.
Yeah.
And I just felt like
There's no
you're not
balance
even
there.
equall there
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
because it's like you've remained the same and you've elevated yourself, whereas
But
you've made her look a certain way.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Because if I had
That
a
is
friend that I saw that in, I'd be extremely worried.
Would you
Because-
say anything?
to my friend?
I would.
Because
yeah,
I think
I would have to.
What if they were married?
If
You would
they-
say something.
if they were married and I could see that they've basically become a shadow of their former selves, and I had evidence that it was due to the fact their partner had basically said, I'm stripping you of all your identity and you have to dress like this. Like, it was basically a controlling situation. I'd be concerned for my friend, but obviously you have to go into these things with tact, because
Of course.
they're married at the end of the
Yeah.
day and there's a
Yeah.
relationship.
Sensitive about it.
But I think for me, it's about, every relationship is about compromise. So there's an element of give and take. So if someone does express something to you, like you said, you have an obligation to consider what they're saying. You can't just throw it to the side and say, well, I don't agree. So no, I'm not going to listen to you. But it's the way that message is delivered. So I think, you know, if I, for example, or no, let me even say, if my friend, for example, has now changed based on their relationship, it's not fair for me to assume,
it's true.
Something's wrong. The person could be ready and willing to make those changes for the sake of their relationship. And that's up to them. Yeah. But if I can see that they are like not okay.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think, and especially if they express that to me, I have an obligation to care or try and help them. But I'm not about to step in and turn into marriage counselor because that's not.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with what you were saying. For me personally, when I could see what was happening. And again, for me, it wasn't for me to kind of say that. Before she had got married, I did kind of say, oh my God, girl, you be changing, blah, blah, blah. You're like, you say it in jest, but you say it in jest because you need to kind of see where they're at as well. Yeah. Because also it's a change for her as well. Yeah. And I don't know what she's feeling. And it's a very sensitive thing. And I always say, I'm not about to come and be, stepping boundaries and having so much say in your relationship matters and whatnot like that. Especially when I know you're now getting married. For me, it's like, Georgina, mind your business and exactly. Face fronts, exactly. Yeah. As long as I don't see her like actually suffering, unless she was actually to tell me herself, then I would honestly lay out my opinion that way. But I feel like when I see her, when I have seen her, I'm just like, it is what it is now. I kind of accept that this is the change that you have now gone through. And I know it's not you, but I can respect it. Do you understand? I can fully respect it. And I remember even when I first got my hair cut, I remember somebody said to me, oh, what does Wayne think about you having short hair? Because you had long hair, you had this, you had coloured hair and all of this stuff. And I was just like, he doesn't care. And not even just that, he loves me with short hair. Like he absolutely loves it. So I'm just like, why is that even a factor? And I remember thinking that at the time, like, why is that even a factor? And I just parked it away because I just thought
it's so interesting irrelevant. How many people are validated by their relationships and their partner's opinion. And I think, yes, consider it. Yes, take it on board. Yes, use it to help shape you as a person and kind of make you even better. But it should never kind of be the
epitome,
the core of everything that you are. True. Like it's so dangerous to kind of build yourself based on somebody's opinion. And
so dangerous.
Because the moment they take that away or the moment they say something, it can crush you.
It can crush you, bro. Who are you? My pastor always says that. Do you know what? In marriage, you just have to get a life. It's not always about your partner and your children and your bills and your house and your car. You need to get a life. You need friends. You need to go out. You need to go dancing. Whatever you need to do, just get a life. Yeah. She always says that.
And my final note, sorry, just from me.
Sounds like Jerry Springer.
My final note. But is that what Jerry Springer sounds like?
I don't remember. Jerry. That's all I remember.
Oh yeah.
No, Maury is
Maury Provoking.
Which one's Maury?
You are not the father.
Yeah, that's
you are not the father. I think my final point would be, again, when I went out with someone, again, he met me a certain way. And I remember when he said to me, similarly to what I saw one of my friends go through as well, another of my friends, where he met her with like weave and whatnot. And then he was just like, nah, you can't wear weave anymore. I only want you to have your natural hair.
Like, what?
Yeah,
that's controlling.
That is, and I just thought to myself, and again, although we're talking about, obviously, it started off with, are you dressing too sexy? But I think there's so many other ways as well that this can actually be seen as well, and where this can be expressed as well. So yeah, he was just like, I don't like you wearing weave anymore, and she stopped wearing weave.
Wow,
like stopped wearing weave.
And that's the thing, though. But I have to respect it that she felt that it was important enough.
Yeah.
Or I'm assuming obviously she's in a good place. She felt that it was important enough to say, okay, I respect your wishes because that's how I would like to move in this relationship.
But what are you changing though? This is the thing. What are you changing? That's what I feel like if we're very boldly saying these things to each other before we've like, don't tell me before marriage, don't tell me within marriage. I don't want to hear it, to be honest with you. But it's so funny
because we were talking about this the other day. You guys will know what I'm talking about. I think Annette, you weren't with us. But we're basically saying some people rate marriage so highly or being in a relationship so highly that they'll do whatever they need to do to get that thing.
Yeah.
They will sacrifice basically who they are and what they stand for. Some people just be like, I need that. And so if it means I have to only wear natural hair, I'm doing it.
But then I feel like, but then what next? Like, why should I?
You're gonna
Then
give
no
up next?
makeup.
Wear orthopedic shoes.
You're not allowed to wear
Oh my God.
makeup. No, but it's true. It's true. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to wear makeup. You're not allowed to wear. You're not allowed to
They're
wear
gonna
heels.
And then
Beware
eventually
of
it's,
everything.
you can't talk to your friends.
Yeah.
You can't see. That's how it starts.
That's
Yeah.
how it starts.
That's how it starts.
That is how it
I've
starts.
seen the talk shows, fam.
It's true. You know.
To be fair, I've seen the talk shows, but I've seen people actually live that life.
No way.
I've seen it 100%. I have seen people go through it, and it's heartbreaking because especially when you remember somebody how they used to be. And I'm not saying people don't change but I expect change to be edifying change and change that's going. It's like a glow up, basically, not a change where I feel like you're going backwards and you're losing your identity and you're losing yourself, and you're just becoming like someone's ideal or someone or just being somebody's own wants and wishes. I just felt like it's very sad. So it's a very sensitive topic for me. So sometimes I just don't talk about it, and I think it's just
I guess on a final note, it's important to strike a balance, because I think all of you made a very valid point in that, you notice how somebody is at the beginning. So I think, if somebody is coming to you with a balanced point of view, I think it's important to take that. So if at times they're very much lifting you up and saying you look great, but then there's times when they're like, you might want to reconsider that, or I'm not particularly 100% comfortable. You've got to take that on the chin, because it's a balance. But if the person's constantly telling you, no, this is not nice, that's when you need to be like, flag.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately relationships are about balance, about compromise, about conversation.
Yeah,
and there will be times where they're like, not based on their insecurity per se, but just they're maybe even looking out for your own well-being. This isn't the look you're trying to put out. This isn't the way you want to be perceived.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe you need to reconsider that. And I think if that person is always coming from a place of love, a place of respect, and ultimately for your best interest, it's you have to really listen to them and consider that, especially, and then ultimately for the benefit of the relationship. That's what you also need to prioritize as well. So
Yeah.
gems.
And on that note,
it's
the end. Thanks for listening to another episode of And on that note.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend, your aunties, your uncles, your sisters, and the whole shambaz. Thank you.
Bye.